What's up, guys? Welcome back to Keeping It Real, the place to be for all the latest movie reviews, trailer reactions, and podcasts. I'm your host, James, joined by Jack today to discuss Bros. Just two bros talking about Bros. I was a single bro who went to go see Bros. I had no bros to go see Bros with.
I was a bro with his dad.
Bros. Before we get started, I just want to remind you all, we are on Twitter at Keeping It Real UK. Give us a follow, and from there you can find links to all of our streaming platforms and social media. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We're probably on there. Whichever app you use to listen to your podcast, make sure to follow us, like us, or give us a 5-star rating. Really helps us out. We're also on YouTube, and we love to have you all as subscribers so you never miss another video. Right, Bros. Bros is about Bobby, an erotic podcast host who's happy to go on Tinder dates and content not to have a serious relationship. That all changes when he meets Aaron, an equally detached lawyer who likes to play the field. Repeatedly drawn to each other, both men begin to show their vulnerable sides as their undeniable attraction turns into something resembling a commitment. Directed by Nicholas Stoller, who you'll know he did Neighbours and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Produced by Judd Apatow, who, you know, Knocked Up, This Is 40, all those, 40-Year-Old Virgin, starring Billy Eichner and Luke McFarlane. Movie released 28th of October 2022, currently sits at an 88% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Jack, what did you think of Bros?
I went into it quite negatively because I saw
You're a homophobe
on Twitter. Oh. No.
Sorry, I thought that's where that was going.
I was thinking then, I was like, oh, do I make a joke? And I was like, no, you just got to say no. No.
Gotta be safe.
Gotta be serious. No.
Right.
Because Billy Eichner, I saw he went on Twitter and was like basically basically having a go at the audience for like not going to watch this movie.
Yeah,
like that's why it hasn't done as great as they wanted it to do. So that put me off because
that irked me as well. Yeah,
as an actor, I don't feel like you should be like, "Fuck you for not going to see my movie."
You all should have gone to see my movie.
I think that's dumb. But that aside, the first 10 minutes of this movie, I don't think a single joke landed for me, and I was like, "Oh God, this is going to be rough." But as it went on, I actually quite liked it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. But I am an absolute melt for a romantic comedy. I love him.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a rom-com. You know that. I get all blubbery.
I think like without like spoilers, I think for me, like, I enjoyed the rom more than I enjoyed the com. Like, I didn't laugh as much as I would want to laugh from something like this. And I think that is partly to do with I don't find Billy Eichner very funny apart from Billy on the Street.
Yeah. Which that's supposed to be like an overtly annoying and invasive character. But I actually find his Billy on the Street more tolerable than himself, than the real life Billy Eichner. Like sucker for rom-com, big fan of Judd Apatow comedies. Those Neighbours movies are funny. Forgetting Sarah Marshall's great. So I went into this with some expectations, but I mean, whilst it is definitely a step in the right direction for representation in these sort of movies, it didn't get me. And you were saying the rom got you more than the com. Neither one really hooked me. Like, this movie should have been a lot funnier. There's a lot of funny people in this movie. There's a scene with Bowen Yang from SNL. I thought that was funny.
That was funny just because it was so he's so bizarre.
Yeah, and he really knows how to ham it up. And
it wouldn't have surprised me if it came out that was all just him just vibing, just making shit up.
But again, like, there's no real jokes I can pluck out and be like, yeah, I love that bit. I love that bit. I think it got maybe 2 or 3 laughs out of me I think it's just under 2 hours.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that like many of the I'd say the funniest people in this movie are the ones in his like I guess on like in like who work at the museum who are trying to like put the
That
plan
little group,
together.
yeah,
Like Jim Rash, like he absolutely
always good.
he kills me in everything he does.
Yeah.
There's the woman, I don't know her name. She's just the lesbian.
Oh yeah,
She's like the
I
big.
recognize her.
She always plays like I think she was in Glee for a bit as like a gym teacher. She always plays
I,
gym teachers.
that's what I looked at her. I was like, I've seen you as a gym teacher somewhere.
She's gym teachers all the time. That's like
Yeah.
all I can remember her as. I thought she was really funny. Hers is actually the one joke that I do remember is when everyone's like, all those like lesbians are pinning him down, and then at the end of it, she goes, "Lesbians disperse." Like that bit, I was absolutely howling. Yeah, it's when like a film like this, like, you know, I know we haven't seen Billy Eichner really as like a leading person, but then in these types of films is where you need to really show you like your chops.
Yeah.
And for me, he
I got
didn't
nothing new from him.
Yeah, and like you know, in like King of Staten Island,
Yeah.
another Judd Apatow thing, Pete Davidson, that was his shot to be like a, you know, to own it. And I thought in that film
He crushed
really
it.
owned it.
Yeah. It's touting all the conventions and cliches of a classic rom-com, but they don't work unless I feel the two leads really have something special. And I never got that. And I guess this whole film is about these two guys are so different from each other. They're both from very different walks of life. But you know, love doesn't see that. But I just never felt like they had a lot of chemistry. And I feel that was really on the part of Billy Eichner. I think he's such an easily unlikable actor because of how he puts himself across, and that's part of the movie. That's part of the character. And I was like, right, you're addressing this, that this guy's very full on, and he's very in your face. And a lot of people don't vibe with him, but I was like, if you're expecting us to watch a movie and really root for this guy, you need to show us something, a way into him. And it never did that for me all the way through. I've just got a problem with Billy Eichner, apparently.
It's like in like romantic, like the comedy aside, in like romantic movies, you always want the goal is no matter how it ends, you want to root for them to be together.
Yeah.
And in this, I didn't much care. It never. There were bits where I was like, oh yeah, this is like nice, and like it's nice because they're both so different, and like two different people coming together and making like a whole. That's like a nice sentiment, but nothing throughout the movie made me really like if
need
they didn't
them
end up together,
to be together.
I would have just been like, okay, like I think I would have been satisfied regardless.
Like we both watched Ticket to Paradise recently with George Clooney and Julia Roberts, and halfway through that movie, there's a scene where George Clooney's talking about Julia Roberts, and I was sat there like, oh, I need them to get back together. I was like, oh God, I can't wait for them to fall in love again at the end, and like it's coming. But I'm like, oh God, I can't wait to get there. And like, it was just
like an instance of leaving a film fucking devastated was when I watched La La Land.
Yeah,
and you have the whole thing at the end, like the big epilogue of like what their life could have been, and I was like, yes, this
because it's two stars. Yes. 2 stars. Time over and time over have proven they've got insane chemistry, and then you craft this story around them where these people need each other, but for the other part of their life where they need to grow and progress, that can't be. They both can't happen. The heartbreaking ending. I could talk about La La Land forever. But this, there was never really a want or a need from me for these guys to be together. I was happy to watch them go on dates and see sort of it blossoming. and the walls coming down, but there was
Yeah.
never that inherent desire for them
No,
to
and that's like
stay
so
together.
that's like so important for these movies, regardless of if they do get together or not. Because like you could argue that like I remember initially like walking out of again La La Land, one of the best films ever made.
I love it.
Like obviously loved it, but I was like, I'm livid that they didn't get together. But that is what made it a better movie. Like it wouldn't have been as good if they did end up together. And that's like you need one way or the other to give a shit.
Exactly.
Like, I did like, what was it? Did you say his name was Luke McFarlane?
Yeah.
I did like him generally.
He was a lot more likable than Billy Eichner. He was
I think
at least the half of the couple that I
also think that's the
hate
point.
watching.
Yeah,
Again, it is the point of the movie. That's why I'm so conflicted, because I'm like, what's the goal? I need to like this guy by the end of the movie.
I didn't know who he was. I googled him yesterday, and you know they keep making loads of like those Hallmark holiday movie jokes. And I looked at his,
them.
He does loads. Oh, yeah, I looked at his like filmography yesterday, and he's just in loads of just shit holiday movies that I've never heard of.
I can really see that.
So I thought he was quite good. So I do hope this maybe pushes him into a more of a mainstream.
Maybe,
thing.
yeah.
I could see him in like some more stuff like this. But
what I wanted to say as well is I was saying earlier about how it's definitely a step in the right direction for rom-coms, getting the representation out there. But I don't think this movie does a good job at normalizing a same-sex relationship, because every dialogue always comes back to "and we're gay," and every scene is sort of built around the joke of "we're gay, they're not gay, we do it differently." And I was like, I understand what you're saying, because you know there's the whole thing, love is love. It's the same as a guy-girl relationship, and Billy Eichner's like, no, it's different. We have our own thing going on, and that's what you need to understand. But I never really felt like the conversations these people were having were real, because it felt like they're trying to really get a message across, and so I never bought into these characters as real people, to be honest. And it's those scenes as well. So yeah, Billy Eichner is this podcaster, and he's putting together this LGBTQ plus history museum. So he's got this group that are helping organize it, and every conversation they had felt like something I'd see on Twitter. Like, it wasn't how real people talk to each other.
Yeah,
you get what I mean?
Yeah, well, basically I think every person pretty much represented essentially a different letter of the LGBTQ plus.
Yeah,
you know, because we got there's a black trans man, there's a lesbian, like he's obviously gay. I think Jim Rash is bi.
But that's never played for character. That's always just played for the laugh. And because I didn't think this movie was funny enough, that didn't work.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think like they each, I guess, what would you call it? I guess each like I guess sexuality type was played to make a joke. And like it was, and then it was. I get like I don't know. I don't know if it's like a real, because obviously that is a circle of people. That is a very specific circle of people that I guess you more interact with. Like when you like, you know, it's like a community that you. I'm trying to think of the words. You know, like. I can't think of word. I'm so lost with what I was trying to say.
I just felt like, because we have about 4 of those scenes where they're around that table.
Yeah.
And every time the punchline was, I'm a lesbian, I'm bisexual, I'm trans, there was nothing else really going on, and I was like, this isn't working.
Yeah, there was
as
no
a
it
comedic
didn't
beat.
feel genuine. There was no genuine conversation.
No,
it was all just I'm bi, I'm a lesbian.
It was every time, and I thought there was they put the scene in the trailer, and I thought that was quite funny. But then when they do it 3 more times throughout the movie, it's just a bit exhausting. And like notoriously, Judd Apatow comedies, even though he didn't direct this, but Judd Apatow comedies do go on way too long. Like, they overstay their welcome.
Yeah,
and I don't think this.
He never knows.
This is an outlier.
Just pull the plug on them.
Yeah, like what the fuck? This is 40 felt like it was 2.5 hours long.
That's bloody funny though.
A very funny movie. Let's talk about Billy Eichner and his rant on Twitter. Well, I don't think he's 100% wrong. I think definitely in America, homophobia probably did play into this.
Definitely
not doing well. People will see that. I mean, we work in a cinema. I've literally heard a customer complain about the poster. Be like, that's disgusting. I'm like, well, no, you're an asshole. Yeah. So that's a very real thing that definitely played into it. But then I don't feel like Billy Eichner should come out and just blame straight people for not going to see his movie. That was very, what's the word? Entitled of him, I think. He's not built up any cred as a leading man or a romantic lead. People know him for running around the street, shoving a microphone in people's faces and screaming at them. And that works for half of the audience. Because I know a lot of people that think that's the worst thing in the fucking world, and they'd lose their mind if someone did that to them. So he's not got this in with an audience already. He's not got an established fan base. So for him to come out with his first movie as a lead and expect, a blockbuster, that is sit right with me. And then after I came out of it as well, and I didn't enjoy it that much, I was like, no, I get why it didn't do that well.
Yeah, I think
even though I'm definitely in the minority, like I said before, it's got an 88% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It's doing well.
Yeah, I think we're on. I don't think we're far apart in what our ratings are going to be, but I think I definitely enjoyed it more than you did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just think that for me, there needs to be more. I think the comedy, is so. I don't know if maybe because I don't know if like those scenes around that table. I don't know if those are going to be funnier to the people that they're obviously for. Like, yeah,
that's there's also that, yeah.
So obviously they keep like there's the black trans woman who makes the trans jokes, and then there's the Jim Rash keeps making lots of bisexual jokes, and I don't know if trans people or bisexual people find them a lot funnier than I did, because obviously it's for them.
Yeah, I think there's because
they obviously have experience with what they're talking about, whereas we are two straight white men hosting a podcast talking about a film.
And
about
again, like
the LGBTQ community.
I go into it with that caveat of being like, this probably isn't going to be aimed right at me. But then Billy Eichner was coming out saying, this isn't just a rom-com for gay people. This is for everyone. When I think there's so much of this movie that it does go very far in its messaging, and it's really hitting the my mind just went blank. it's beating you over the head a lot of the times because of his character and how he feels about certain things. But I feel like for some of the audience that might be quite alienating, because they're going to be sat there and these jokes they might just be going over their head, because they're aimed at a very specific
which is where I think
part of the audience.
Which is where I think that if the comedy is very much for one audience, the romance almost needs to be, it needs to also like boost it up for you, which I guess is what it kind of did for me, because I love all that shit.
I think
Even though I didn't
just
think it was the funniest film in the world.
If it wasn't
I
Billy
enjoyed
Eichner and it was someone more just likable and watchable, so I don't think that's him, and I think he'll struggle to get another lead after this.
Maybe. I don't know. I think my mind keeps going fucking blank. I think that the premise of it, is a really good premise in terms of like, there's probably a few, but I can't think of any. There aren't many films like this, like, you know, like a romantic comedy about gay relationships.
I mean, this is being touted as the first big studio rom-com. I mean, rom-coms don't even do that well anymore. You know what I mean? So again, you're just touting it's the first gay studio rom-com, but rom-coms don't do that well regardless anymore. People are saving up their, save their time to go to the cinema for the big superhero movies and the franchises. So rom-coms don't do massively anyway, and then you obviously counter in the aspect of a lot of people, because of their preferences, aren't going to want to see this, which is a shame.
Yeah, like I would definitely wouldn't say, despite the fact that I think it was like quite like a average movie, I would still say, yeah, go watch it. I wouldn't.
I couldn't recommend it because I just sat there very, straight faced a lot of the time. Just again, maybe 2 or 3 laughs. I enjoyed Luke McFarlane way more than I enjoyed Billy Eichner. It just turns out Billy Eichner was the lead.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
I guess like I'd never heard of Luke McFarlane before this movie. Neither. I didn't even know his name until I Googled it after the film. Yeah. So you can't really pin, I guess, the marketing around his character.
That was another thing, the marketing. I only saw a trailer for this a week before it came out.
No, to be fair,
I could have gone out my way and watched it, obviously, on YouTube. But
most people won't do that.
I won't do that a lot of the time. If I know I'm going to go see a movie anyway, I won't go out my way to look for the trailer. If the trailer comes on, then yeah, fine, I'll watch it. So in a cinema, I only saw the trailer a week before it came out. So the marketing was terrible for it. A lot of that push was being done on Twitter by Billy Eichner himself.
Yeah, I think I saw the trailer like 3 times, but I saw them in screens that weren't even remotely busy. Like I think yesterday there was about 5 of us in there.
I think in mine, set like 10 people maybe, just under. Oh, pardon me.
I saw it before Don't Worry, Darling, and I was the only person in Don't Worry, Darling. So I don't know if they're just being like, go watch this movie, Jack. Watch it. And I'm like, okay, I was going to watch it anyway.
Have you got any more thoughts on Bros?
No, I think any thought that comes to my head now, I'll probably lose in about 5 seconds. We may as well wrap up.
Yeah, so let's do your rating out of 5.
I'll give it a solid 3.
All right, 3 out of 5. I'm gonna go a 2. So we'll call that 2.5, right down the middle for Bros.
Go see it, or don't if you don't want to.
Or don't, yeah. I wouldn't see it again. That's it for our review of Bros, everyone. Please let us know what you thought of the film down below on the comments if you're watching on YouTube, or you can tweet us on Twitter at Keeping It Real UK. Like I said up top, make sure to just like, rate, share, subscribe on YouTube. All of that helps us out. We're going to be back a couple more times this week. Me and Maurice are going to do a review for Barbarian, and then we'll be back midweek with a podcast where we're just going to shoot the shit for an hour on whatever's going on. And until then, keep it real.